Hi everyone, I am Pranav Chaudhary on behalf of the whole OMC Blog team. Today we will be having an interview with the prestigious Indian IMO team. We warmly welcome all the 6 team members, Arjun, Aditya, Atul, Vedant, Pranjal and Kaustav. Heartiest congratulations to all of you for your amazing performance at the IMO. We hope that you have fun in the interview. The interview will consist of 4 types of questions. The standard type. This will involve the questions which are usually asked in almost all math Olympiad related interviews. Second, the non-standard type. These are not so common questions, but not very new either. Third, the controversial ones. These are the questions on which each people will have different opinions, and it's highly possible that someone might just not like someone due to their opinion over that question. The team might have to be diplomatic here, so let's see how they'll answer these questions. And fourth, the rapid fire. In this round, you all, that is our audience, can ask the IMO team their own questions which you want them to answer. You can ask the questions over chat because we won't be allowing you to unmute sadly, and we'll pick the question and ask the team members. So let's get started. The first round, the standard types of questions. In which grade did you all get introduced to Olympiad mathematics? Arjun, would you like to answer this question?
So I was interested in math since beginning. Good evening, everyone. I was interested in math since beginning, and I cleared PRMO 2019 and was fascinated by challenges posed by the undefined syllabus when I sat my first Olympiad, which was RMO 2019. I started solely preparing for Olympiads after I gave my Aryabhatta exam, which was in January. Around 2020 February, I started solely preparing for mass Olympiads.
That's quite early. Atul, what would you like to say?
I began preparing mostly in 9th grade. That year I gave PRMO. It was mostly just because I was doing school math. I used to think SOF IMO is the real IMO. And winning medals there was like the achievement of life. But no, I found out about Olympiads relatively late these days. So many people are like such a young age being really good at Olympiads. But yeah, for me, it was 9th grade.
Do you still give SOF Olympiads though?
No.
Aditya, what's your age when you started Olympiads?
So I started Olympiads at 6th grade. And I started doing PRMO, like I gave IQM and IMO in 8th grade.
Vedant, when did you start?
Yeah, I got to know about PRMO at the end of the 7th grade, I think December, January. I was just searching some hard problems on the internet and I stumbled upon the HPCSA website. And then I started doing computational maths like PRMO and stuff. And I occasionally used to just visit previous year's RMO papers. And obviously I was not in such a mathematical solving position to solve them. So I looked at the solutions and just stared in awe. That's how I started with that.
That's very nice. Costa, what about you?
I started preparing when I was in 7th grade, and I started writing Olympiad exams from 9th grade. I cleared RMO in 9th, and then 10th I cleared IMO. I went team this year.
Pranjal Bhaiya, what about you?
So I used to do a lot of math which was similar in style to Olympiads, even before I heard of Olympiads. So I think technically I heard of Olympiads in 7th, and I gave the Olympiad tests at my next possible chance, which was in 8th. However, I guess a lot of you must have heard of Russian circles, books like those and 106 challenging problems in geometry. Those books I had looked at before I heard of 7th. So this sounds weird, but I started preparing for Olympiad math probably in 5th end or 6th. But I only heard of Olympiad math in 7th. That I heard Olympiads were a thing only in 7th.
That's pretty early.
Yeah. I was lucky that way.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is for Kaustav. Out of all the books and handouts you have read, what is your favorite book or handout and why?
My favorite book is this book called Excursion in Mathematics. So it's my favorite book because it was the book I started doing Olympiad maths from, and it actually gave me a lot of basics in all 4 subjects. So, and it's a really cute book. I think when you solve it completely, it also has past year papers from RMO and INMO. So when you're done with the book, you actually reach INMO level. So yeah, even the concepts are pretty nice. Mostly because it's my first book.
Yeah, so like you seem to be quite attached with the book. Do you still visit it sometimes? Like just randomly solve a few questions?
I mean, I bought it again just for the sake of it, but
Oh,
it had
that's
a nice
interesting.
cover in the second edition.
Ah.
So I didn't visit it after then. So, but still, I look at it sometimes.
All right. So the next question is for Atul. Out of all the 4 areas of Olympiad mathematics, what is your favorite area and why?
So initially when I started Olympiads, I really liked Geo, but honestly that was mostly because geometry is the most trainable, and also a lot of people I know actually like seem to love geometry a lot, and I did too at the initial point because like I used to just memorize configs and like keep doing random stuff. But then at some point I really liked combo, like combinatorics, because of the kinds of arguments that are used in like solving them. And also I just feel that combo questions are a lot more interesting to solve.
All right, that seems to be like your opinions changed over time. The next question is for Aditya. What is your favorite theorem or lemma and why?
So my favorite one is on inversion. So like I like inversion because when you apply it, like the problem almost changes into a different looking problem, and many times it's simpler.
All right. So the next question is for Arjun. What books or handout did you do in your times and which ones do you recommend now?
So the syllabus, books, and like reading materials or websites are undefined. So this makes it both challenging and interesting. And now for PRMO, I first completed maths till class 10th. This includes the NCRT books, and I also stressed myself with some harder questions from books by R.D. Sharma. The other books that I can recommend are the AMTI books for PRMO, RMO level. I also completed the past papers. But now for INMO, one can try the first few problems of the IMO shortlist. Like I enjoyed doing the book problem solving strategies. It's suitable for INMO, IMO level. I like the book Lemmas in Olympiad Geometry. It's a good resource for geometry, and it also has a AOPS forum for discussing problems. I also like the book 104 Problems in Number Theory. One nice thing about such books is that this series, like this book also, that every problem has a solution in the book. Now institutions or programs like Chinta, Awesome as Summer Program or OTIS and OTIS are also nice for Olympiad preparation. Um, like one can find the more details about these by like just searching on the net about these programs or institutions. I also really like the Canada IMO training handouts. In Canada there are 2 camps, winter camp and summer camp. So the winter camp are like easier than the summer camp. Like both the like camps are above IMO level. So the winter camp is around IMO level 1 to 2, and the summer camp is around IMO level 2 to 3. The National Olympiad of Canada provides unorthodox problems as well. And now for IMO, one should solve a lot of problems which are available on the website Art of Problem Solving. The team selection tests of countries like USA, Taiwan, Iran are good for practice. One should now also try some of harder problems of the IMO shortlist.
Yeah, that seems to be like a lot of resources for people to practice from. I hope this helps people. I'd like to ask the next question to Pranjal and Vedant. What is the importance of mathematical intuition and maturity? Pranjal, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so I'd say that mathematical intuition and maturity are basically like the key things which determine how good someone is at Olympiad math and which problems they can solve. Like, you need to know a lot of things when you approach the problem. You need to have a sense of which statements are true and which statements are false. Because unless you can somehow internalize, unless you can get a feel for why a problem ought to be true or false, it will be very hard to formally prove it if you don't even understand why you think it should be true or false. That's one place where mathematical maturity plays an important role, telling whether questions ought to be true or false. Another thing is that after you solve a lot of problems and get some mathematical maturity, you are sometimes able to sense whether a particular approach will work or the particular approach is doomed to fail because of some reason. This is another place where a lot of experience and mathematical maturity comes in. So I believe it's really important, both for letting you conjecture whether things should be true or false and for coming up with ideas to prove them. And I have somewhat tested this too. Like if you ask people from good colleges Olympiad math questions, even people who have never touched Olympiad math before, often they're able to solve up to like IMO 1s and 2s just because they have enough mathematical maturity from taking their college courses, even if the syllabus is different. And even for me, what happened is when I started my prep, as I said before, I heard of Olympiads. That helped a lot, even though it wasn't necessarily exactly the correct thing to do for Olympiad. So just learning math itself goes a long way, and having that mathematical maturity intuition is like one of the, forget one of it, is probably the most important thing. And you essentially get this just by experience, solving problems and reading things.
Vedant, would you like to say anything about this?
Yeah, I would like to relate this to my Olympiad journey. When I first started doing Olympiad math, like Atul, I also like geometry, and conversely, I couldn't do combinatorics. In fact, I hated it because when I looked at the solution, it seemed too easy. But when I tried my hand on a fresh problem, I simply wasn't able to get any crack in the problem. So, in due course, I slowly start getting the hang of doing combinatorics problems and doing tough problems. And now I look back and realize that not only was the not only the resources are important, but for a subject like combinatorics, your mathematical intuition and your maturity plays an extremely strong. So because you're able to see through things, I mean, you're able to see how the problem is being constructed, what was going on in the mind of the examiner and the problem proposer, and you are able to relate one problem to many others and borrow some ideas from here, some from there, and eventually find your way to a beautiful solution. So it helps a lot more than any theorem or lemma would help.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the answer. So I also feel that what they said is like very nice, and like people should focus on maturity more. So the next question is for Costa. How did you manage school studies, day studies, and Olympiad preparation?
I messed up. But okay, in seriousness, I did Olympiad very seriously until the end of 10th grade. After that, I actually became a JE guy, so I didn't have enough time for Olympiad maths as such. So I started getting out of touch, and then like by the second half of 11th grade, I started doing Olympiad maths again. Like not that often, but yeah, I used to do it once in a while. That's how I completed half of lemmas and Olympiad geometry. And then in 12th grade, I had even less time. So I just revised it before major exams. So like I didn't do Olympiad maths at all in 12th grade. I just revised for like 2 weeks before IMO. And then before IMO, I did it for like 1 month. And for school exams, I did not study. I studied like a day before the exam. That's okay, I guess. that's that.
So for the school exam, since you studied like only for a day or so, how was your board results? Were you happy with it?
Yeah, I was very happy. I got 94.8. I was happy enough. I got 100 in Chem. Beat
That's nice. Okay, so my next question is to Pranjal. Did you read any college math textbooks? Do you think they are needed for Olympiad maths as such?
Yeah, so I did read some number of college math textbooks. And so I have this thing also that my brother, like one stroke of good fortune is that my brother is 6 years older than me. And he is also really interested in math. He is doing his master's in math right now. So often instead of doing higher math via textbook, I just ask him to teach me college subjects, or he'd want to do it of his own will, often that too. So I think it actually helped quite a bit because this is actually very similar to the previous question you had asked me about mathematical intuition and maturity. And I feel that college subjects can build it too. So you will never need specific lemmas and results from college subjects in Olympiads. People sometimes do learn linear algebra for combinatorics and all that, but it is very, very rare that you'll come across a free floating question which is not from a linear algebra handout and then be able to solve that using linear algebra. But I still think it is helpful because it helps in a more indirect way. Often when you do like college math, like real analysis and etc., while it feels like a chore, it teaches you how to formalize arguments and make things more rigorous. That's one way it helped me a lot. Like after doing real analysis, I felt I improved because earlier, oftentimes when I had a vague idea of how to do a problem, I wasn't able to finish it. But after doing real analysis, picking up a textbook and going through it, even though the subjects are very different, I felt it much easier to convert vague ideas into a formal, proper solution. I was able to formalize arguments. And it also college math also teaches you to think a bit more abstractly about stuff. While Olympiad math is very linked to, in a sense, the questions are all easy to understand and the solutions are easier to understand. There's nothing too complicated in just understanding the solution. Coming up with it is the harder part. But after doing college math, you get more accustomed to being able to deal with and understand more abstract and harder subjects. And even though that's again not very directly related, I feel it helps just because it increases your mathematical intuition and maturity. You'll be less logical to make errors in solutions, etc.
So as you said, like it's very useful. So what, like let's say one or two topic would you recommend people to read from college math, which they can understand being in
Yeah.
high school?
So, okay. Also, one caveat which I'll just repeat, since this is an important point, you will not need to use specific results and theorems from higher math in Olympiad math. Olympiad math is designed in such a way so that you won't. But it can be helpful just in increasing your mathematical maturity and intuition. Okay, now you're asked which subjects, right? So one thing which people could try looking at is group theory, or basically whatever a college would do in its first abstract algebra course. Maybe you can start with rings or linear algebra instead. But I like I did group theory first, and that was also really helpful because okay, a lot of people have different opinions, but okay, abstract algebra, groups, rings, linear algebra, something like that. Yes, Burnside is from group theory. You could also look at real analysis as a starting subject. Okay, how good is napkin? Should I answer that? I just saw it in chat.
Yeah, sure. Cool.
So napkin is really good to give you an idea of how the subject is supposed to look like. But especially for the harder subjects in the link, harder subjects in napkin, it's not like a proper resource for those subjects. Think of it as a quick inside view on what you'll be learning if you read the subject, and it can get you interested into the subject, but it's not a replacement for a proper book or for learning it rigorously. especially for the later something. But for introducing to the subject, it's really
Also, like for learning like college topics, what would you recommend personally? Like reading from a like proper college textbooks, or like first thing, let's say some videos of that topic, like group theory. You see one or two introductory videos, and then go to a college textbook for
I
more
think
rigorous
seeing
ones.
I think seeing one or two introductory videos is fine, but the rigorous part is important and undervalued. Like
Okay.
you shouldn't have an idea of what a group is. You should know what the group axioms are, and you should be able to work out things with groups without hand waving them as ought to be true. And you should be able to figure out what the abstraction is on your own, in a sense. That starting with seeing videos is fine, but if someone does something with groups, you should be able to understand what is happening just beyond like a mess of notation. Like you should understand the math beyond the notation as in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Extreme craft theory is not even, someone again asked in chat. I don't think that even counts as college math theory.
Okay. Yeah. So moving on to the next question. Many people wants to have like particular teacher or like study from someone. So let's ask the IMO team about their math coaches. So who guided you in Olympiad maths, and do you think having a mentor is helpful? Arjun, would you like to say anything over this?
Yeah. So my parents provided me the inspiration, guidance, and encouragement throughout my Olympiad math journey. Like my mother spent hours and taught me all the maths till class 12, and in general all subjects of school curriculum till now. She customized it to levels of my understanding, and this saved a lot of time of mine. It improved my grasping power as well. I never had to go to tuition. There is no doubt in saying my mother worked much harder than me, especially when she has a family of seven to look after and is in full-time employment. Now my father even took the risk of shifting me to homeschool so that I can focus more on my loved subject, which is maths. I also used to play chess professionally, but when I decided to focus more on maths than chess, my parents fully supported me in this decision. My father also gave me some really nice handouts. He put me in some nice programs like Chinta, Awesome Math Summer Program, and OTIS. This way, I didn't have to spend time finding like nice resources, which is a hard task. Now I can clearly recall like whenever I felt a little low, my parents motivated me. For example, I was a little sad after IMO day one, but they motivated me for day two. Other than guidance also, my parents worked really hard for me. So they were my guides, tutors, and mentors. And to answer whether having a mentor is helpful, of course, let it be any topic of life. Having a mentor is definitely helpful. Actually, having a professional mentor is not a necessity in my opinion. Like a mentor could be your parent, your friend, your like family member, or anyone.
Yeah, that seems nice. Your parents have like a huge role in your math success. So, Vedant, would you like to say anything about this?
Yeah, I too had a mentor. I mean, one of the teachers at my coaching institute, uh, they helped me with Olympiad maths when I first started. I think that was important for me because when you start something and something like Olympiad math, it's huge, it's vast. There are so many ideas, so many types of problems, and it seems really overwhelming while starting. Uh, what to do, what not to do, how can I think of this, how can somebody think of this, and stuff like that. So he helped in giving me the problems which suited my aptitude at that point. The techniques, I mean, new techniques which would help me, and the problems which were just a notch above my level. So in that regards, yeah, a mentor really helps. But after that that threshold period, you, I mean, you become you become you know about your weaknesses and where to improve, what you have to do next, and what all there is. So after a point it becomes redundant. But initially, yeah, it's useful to have mentor.
That explains both the roles of having and not having a mentor, which is nice. Aditya, what's your point of view over this?
So I had a mentor. So I was guided by M. Prakash sir. So like I'll tell some things about my mentors. So like my mentor. So he helped me a lot in Olympiad mathematics. Not only in Olympiad mathematics, he also helped me in other aspects like fitness and other stuff and routine. So he teaches maths for free only, like only for the sake of mathematics, and he was able to transfer the interest and love for mathematics to his students and like me also. He was very energetic and used to motivate me to work more on my topics, like on math. While proving a theorem also, he makes us guess the theorems and prove it ourselves before revealing the proof of the theorem. So I think having a mentor is useful. Like he can guide us when we have difficulties and motivate us. He also give us many tricks and techniques. Like my mentor used to like ask me to write what new things I learned after solving every problem. He can also guide us in other aspects like routine and physical fitness and other things.
Yeah, so seems like your mentors would be really proud now because you have like done so well in the IMO. Let's move on to the next question. Everyone knows that at end the IMO team members are humans only, and they can't just do maths for like 24 hours. So let's know about their hobbies. Costa, what's your hobbies?
I like listening to music and playing video games, and also recently I've started juggling. Yes, juggling, you heard that right. And also because of Jay, I don't have as many hobbies as I did before, but yeah, mostly playing games or listening to music or watching sitcoms even. I still do watch TV like while having lunch and stuff, but yeah, right now I mostly juggle.
What do you juggle? The balls or like cups?
What
or
do you
how?
think I'll juggle?
Like, what kind of balls I meant actually?
I mean, they gave us balls at IMO, so I juggle those
Ah,
balls.
all right.
Pranjal is pro at juggling too, so just thought you should know.
Oh. So
I
Pranjal,
am
what are
part
your
of the
hobbies?
reason Costa got into juggling. I
I
honestly
agree.
believe now.
How many balls can you juggle at once, Pranjal?
One or two, but let's not get into that.
Ah.
Let's just leave it at I'm the person who got caught to it.
I can bet that Pranjal can juggle at least 5.
I can do 3 if you're willing to forgive a few errors.
Uh-huh.
That sounds cool. What are your other hobbies, Pranjal?
Yeah, so I used to play badminton a lot. Like a lot. Like in 7th and 8th summers, I used to like go in the morning, play badminton, come back, go in the evening, play badminton, come back. Apart from badminton, I played table tennis and football too. Though all sports have slightly reduced after COVID, honestly. Not necessarily a good thing, but yeah. I like reading fantasy and science fiction. And I used to play the piano and drums.
That seems like a lot of hobbies.
Yeah.
Vedant, what are your hobbies? Vedant, you're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. I just couldn't get the button on. Yeah. Hobbies. Okay. Now I'm in 11th and preparing for JE, so my bad to all hobbies. In 10th, I cubed a lot. 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5, pyramids, and the square one. All of the major WCA events. And I also played the piano. And one thing I still do now is play sports. Nowadays, I play badminton, table tennis when it's raining.
Sad J has affected your hobbies. Aditya, what are your hobbies?
So I play badminton, basketball, and other games. I also play chess, and also I'm learning how to play the piano. Also read fictional storybooks.
Arjun, what are your hobbies?
So I enjoy playing chess and actually like used to play it professionally. So I'm not sure if that counts as a hobby, but at least I enjoy it. Other than that, I enjoy playing badminton and like other downstairs games like cricket, football, and table tennis.
Okay, lastly, let's ask Atul about his hobbies.
Yeah, after Vedant talks about his hobbies, like almost nothing counts, but I enjoy playing chess, playing table tennis, and mostly reading books, which is something I've been doing for like all the time. Like mostly fiction, sometimes non-fiction too, but books are like really fun to read, and it's like really easy to just get like absorbed in it and forget about everything else.
Seems like a
And I
lot of.
also did music at like some point.
All right. Can we share your music recordings after the interview?
No,
Okay. Seems like a lot of people play table tennis. So, like, did you guys also play at HBCSC?
yes,
Who used to win usually?
Vedant.
Vedant.
Like it's not even much of a challenge. It's like a
It's not
momentous occasion.
usually. It's
I
like
remember
always.
him beating me with his left hand. So mid game, he said that okay, I'll play left hand, and then he won. So
Interesting. Okay, so this ends the first round of the questions. Hope you are enjoying the interview. Let's move on to the second round, the non-standard type of questions. The first question, in a word, how would you highlight the difference between Olympiad maths and school mathematics? Aditya, what would you like to say on this?
So like Olympiad math is more tricky. Okay. Like you have to think of more tricks and think of more ideas when doing Olympiad math, new ideas.
Okay, Atul, what about you?
I'd say the difference is Olympiad math is fun. School math is something you're just like forced to do. Like you're taught one thing, then they'll ask like 5 exercises on it, and you just repeat same thing a million times. It's just boring. But Olympiad math is actually like very cool and super fun to do, which is really the motivation for doing.
All right, Arjun, what about you?
Yeah, I would say creativity. So for example, school math works like a foundation stone. All the questions would be from some standard textbook. Like if someone has done the standard textbook like textbook 1 and textbook 2, then that is enough to get nice marks in a paper. Like one usually knows what techniques to apply beforehand. Say someone asks you to multiply some big numbers like say 1000 something and 2000 something, like the simple method to multiply them, and if you just do everything correctly without making error, you just be done. So school math does not push beyond a certain level and does not filter or promote excellence, but it only like promotes achievement of a defined level of standard. For example, in the movie Three Idiots, when like Rancho's professor has said him that this college is best in the country, then Rancho replied that what number one? Because here we are only taught how to get marks in a paper, but no one is talking about new ideas. So on the other hand, Olympiad math is advanced and non-routine math. There is no particular rule that questions will be of this particular sort. So like one has to do out of the box thinking. The syllabus, as I mentioned before, the syllabus is undefined, and we also don't know what techniques to apply beforehand. The whole solution, we have to construct the whole idea on our own. While the techniques are used are elementary only, they have to be used in an ingenious way. As an example, say one has to find the COVID-19 vaccine. So Olympiad math pushes one outside their comfort zone. It promotes excellence, and I feel the test standards are at least 2 levels above the standards of school exams. So basically, the key thing I would like to highlight about Olympiad math is out of the box thinking and application of like elementary techniques in a newer ingenious way. So creativity basically.
That seems like a lot of difference between school and Olympiad maths. Okay, moving on to the next question. What is the best thing you liked about the IMO? Costa?
Meeting new people and stuff Vedant and Atul know about.
Can we get to know that stuff here?
Meeting new people
Right.
Yes, we met lots of new people.
and playing air hockey. Yes, I cannot go through an interview without saying air hockey. I was extremely competitive. So,
Interesting. Atul,
Yeah, he
what-
dominated.
huh?
He dominated.
Somewhere where
Yeah,
Vedant
I mean,
is
I was very
dominant.
popular because of air hockey.
In
Yes,
Norway.
yes, Kaustav
Yes.
keeps thinking you're popular.
Ah.
I was okay.
Okay.
Wait, was
Yes,
there
but
not
Norway
a
the-
table tennis table for Vedant? Was
There
there not a
was.
table tennis table for Vedant to get
There was.
popular?
There was.
How many people Vedant crashed there?
Vedant, you can answer.
Let's move on.
So I can vouch for the fact that most of us were mostly playing air hockey.
And also, super fun thing about Norway was like we got to go to the amusement park. Most of us got to go to the amusement park. Some of us unfortunately missed it. But yeah, it was really fun. And Kaustav was like the most scary.
Dude, don't expose me. If you're going to expose me, expose the person who had the most fun.
Yes, so like there's this ride called the Spin Spider, which is super scary. Before it, Costa was like essentially trying to persuade me to like just abandon the rest of the people and like run away. And it was actually genuinely scary.
I
And
had
then
a
while
lot
we
of
had-
reasons.
Yeah, and while we were having lunch, Arjun skipped lunch so that he could go on the ride again.
That's interesting.
It was actually not that scary. Like it was fun only. Like you just have to believe
Scary.
that nothing
You're
will
just
happen to
different.
you.
I'll tell you how the ride went. It was a pendulum. It went like this.
It
Okay.
was spinning too.
Okay.
And it goes beyond 90 degree. Yeah. And that's
It goes
okay,
around
yes.
120 degrees.
You see the horizon from here.
Huh.
That's something in Delhi also, I think, like in the amusement parks of Delhi.
Yeah. It's similar, but just the angle is a little higher.
I see.
Oh, by the way, someone asked a question, dal chawal or Norwegian cuisine. I'm going to say we had khichdi every day. So yes.
Speaking of food, half of the team was vegetarian this year.
No, that was sarcasm again. Sorry.
Yes, he's obviously joking. Costa's humor is so bad you don't even get it. Yeah, so vegetarian
Come
food
on.
was like really hard to get in Norway. And it was sad.
I think many people faced issues over that, right?
Yeah, actually, there were quite some problems for veg people who don't even take egg. Like veg options were very limited. So I think people should be planning accordingly. So like I personally took some ready-made food packets from India, like which you can just eat after like boiling them a little. And actually, without which I would have faced problems because sometimes I didn't like there wasn't any food which I would like eat or anything. So in that cases, I had to eat that only. Even the bread had egg. What more?
The bread had egg.
Yeah. Oh, so there was a confusion. Like I would ask some hotel official, and some would say that it has egg, and some would say it doesn't has egg. So like, if someone says it has egg, and I'm in doubt, I can't eat it. Like,
That's sad. Pranjal, how was your experience at IMO?
Yeah, so the thing is, I fell unwell midway through. So I was completely fine during the test at least. Luckily, it didn't affect that. But like I was, in a way, it's worse if you're unwell on the days of the excursion. So day one, when we went to like the Natural History Museum, I was just like sitting on the bench the whole time. And the amusement park, I just skipped because I didn't feel like getting up and going. But apart from that illness, it was like quite fun. Yeah, and as someone has said that I've had the chance to enjoy IMO multiple times, twice already.
From the
2018
comfort of
19.
your house.
2018 and 19. Okay, I'm not Rohan. You can't do that to me. but like after that it was quite fun, and they had organized this. My internet died, so these people probably already talked about the building ribbon, where like people could go and just hang out, play card games, watch Vedant beat others at table tennis, watch Costa get beaten at air hockey, that sort of thing.
What did I even do to you?
I'm just being truthful.
Yes, we're just stating facts.
I got told by 3 people that I was a very big pro at air hockey on my last day. So I don't care what you say. You didn't even win against me.
How much money did you give them, Costa?
Also, to clarify, 3 out of 600 people.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I should leave.
No, Costa, let's stay and let's finish the interview, please. Aditya, how was your experience though?
Yeah, it was nice. Like I like the adventure park, and the adventure park was a nice experience. And like
Also, like
vegetarian,
since oh yeah, sorry.
what?
Nothing, sorry, go on.
And like it was hard to get vegetarian food in the first day, but like after that they tried to include some vegetarian options too for India and other countries. And like I also met many people from like different countries, like and made new friends with them.
Yeah, okay. So like seems like everyone had a lot of fun in Norway. Let's
Also to add more on
Yeah.
this, like my experience in Norway was also like quite great. Like the country is beautiful, and even more the hospitality is great. For example, on the first day I was feeling a little cold because I'm from Delhi, and like Norway's temperature everyone knows. But I was like immediately provided with a heater and a blanket. So the hospitality was nice. I also like got to interact with a lot of people, and like meeting people coming from such different diversity was an unforgettable experience. So I naturally made a lot of friends, and as everyone mentioned, the museum, which was sort of a old village, was also like nice, and the amusement park, of course, was the quite nice thing. And I think the best part of the journey was playing football, where I and Costa accidentally went to the wrong field.
Yeah, I mean, these people went to play football in a park and we went to an actual football field. And then we ended up playing with some Swiss people who were like very, very athletic.
But they were also from the IMO, like one was Swiss leader, one was
One was
leader of
Liechtenstein
Lithuania.
leader.
Yeah,
Not Lithuania, Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein.
Huh.
And they were
Then
quite good
people
at
in general.
football.
They were
Yeah,
very good
European
at
people
football.
in general are better. Okay, so let's move on to the next question.
Also, one thing that Costa ran after some time, because I don't know, Costa will tell.
I wanted to eat dinner. Is that a bad reason?
That's not the full reason, at least.
It is.
Okay.
Let's stop this question before it enters into a flame war between these two. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Do you listen to music often, and which genre do you like, Costa?
I listen to Bollywood, video game music, and anime music, mostly Bollywood. I also listen to rock sometimes.
Are these all music genres?
Yes.
Okay, yes, they're called genres.
Are they genres? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And how often do you listen to music though?
All the time. I
Even
mean, when
while
I was
doing
preparing
chemistry?
for Olympiads, I'm pretty sure I listened to music all the time, even while like going hardcore into a problem. Like, okay, I'll listen to.
How about
background music.
chemistry, Costa, while doing chemistry?
I need background music while doing chemistry to stop me from going insane. That should be a given.
Interesting. Okay. So
You
let's
should
move on.
understand, of all people.
I don't listen to music while studying chemistry.
You will.
Hope so. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. How do people keep yourself motivated, Atul?
So initially when I was doing math, I was just doing it like by myself. I didn't know anyone else was doing math. It was more like I just went on AOPS and did problems, and okay, beyond the point was probably getting slightly boring, but math was still quite fun, so I enjoyed doing it. But then I found out about like the online math community, which was like super fun. And this is controversial, but I honestly love group solving with people. It may not be necessarily like helpful in improving yourself, but like at math, but it's a lot of fun because you get to talk to people and like make friends who do math and just like get to know them. And I think that is a lot more important than like just preparing for Olympiads, which you can just lose motivation unless you actually have other things.
Interesting. Arjun, how do you keep yourself motivated?
So part of this question will get answered later in like, do you have someone in the later the question that do you have someone in the math community who inspires you? But there is more to say on this. So like one mainly gets demotivated if he doesn't get the desired result. Like that's one of the biggest reason of demotivation. But so if one follows the like the shlok of Bhagavad Gita that one should be doing your karma only, but one shouldn't have attachment towards result. But this does not also mean that you don't do your like work properly. You should be doing your work with full dedication, but don't worry about result. So if one follows this like shlok, then such problems would be very less. But I agree that this is very hard to follow. One's final aim should always be to follow this, but I will suggest some other ways too because this is very hard to follow. So like one is that one has to be confident that like I can do this. So like one can motivate themselves by saying that I do such things in like at other places. Say like for example, if someone says I can't sit for 4.5 hours, then he should recall that he will do this in an exam. So he just has to like increase his motivation level and think it is in his abilities. And similarly, one has to be determined. Like once you have decided something, you don't have to stop. Like you might be thinking twice before deciding, but no turning back after deciding. Like some of the saints of India did not stop their opinions even when they might have built nest on their body. Like literally imagine their determination level. Also like I personally like to meditate when I'm a little tired. Say like suppose I like had a session of 4.5 hours and I'm a little tired like from my brain, then I like to do meditation and I get re-energized. I know some people who get re-energized after doing some intense physical activity. For example, former world chess champion Vishwanathan Anand, who everyone knows, went to gym after losing his first game in world championship, and he eventually won the 2006 World Championship. Also, Vishwanathan Anand strongly recommended. I think people would have heard of PhD, who like performed exceptionally well in this chess Olympiad. And actually, Vishwanathan Anand had recommended Gukesh to do 1 hour of stretch power exercise or meditation every day. Gukesh followed it religiously in the like lockdown, and the results are in front of everyone. So it worked for Gukesh, and it like since it worked for Anand also, so it hopefully works for like a lot of other people. Oh, so Gukesh is a like a chess player, and he a young chess grandmaster, and he performed quite well as at this like chess Olympiad. I don't remember his age exactly, but he's less than 18, and he had beaten like Caruana Fabiano, the best player of America.
I think we shall not get into this and like stick to the IMO interview. Okay, yeah. So that seems to like a lot of ways to motivate yourself. Let's move on to the next question. Are you planning to study abroad or in India? And why so? Atul.
So I do plan to apply abroad because studying abroad also like gives you exposure to a lot of things. And there's also just a lot of diversity and a lot more facilities that are available in universities abroad. But of course, like I'm talking specifically for maths, like India has very good things too. For example, CMI and IASC are very good too. So I do plan to apply abroad, but Indian colleges are also very.
Kaustav, what about you?
I'm doing JE and I have CMI as backup.
CMA is going to well, I hope,
Yep.
with the assignments and J pressure.
Yep.
Nice.
And I have
Alright.
Rohan to bully me anyway.
Yeah, and not finishing assignments will make Rohan bully you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question. How to read solutions? I hope many people want to know the answer to this, like when they're doing a problem and they want to see the solution. How would you like to do that? So Arjun, what do you want to say on this?
So for example, one problem can have several different approaches, and a lot of solution to like a particular problem are posted on AOPS. AOPS is Art of Problem Solving and a very nice website. Now there is no need to understand like every solution to a problem. Like one doesn't need to know every way to solve a problem, but it's worth understanding some ingenious approach or a new technique. So say some solution uses projective geometry and one doesn't know that, then it's like worth understanding, like worth learning projective geometry. Similarly, say some solution uses an ingenious idea, then it's worth trying to grasp that, even if that takes a little time. Like this will slowly improve on intuition, and hopefully one can find similar solutions in the future himself. Further, like there is no need to remember the whole solution. Like one should just like get a sense of the main idea of the solution. The basically there's a main idea in the solution from which everything could be like constructed, and the main idea is the key step. So usually official solution and the ones posted by famous people are most helpful for us in this sense. And one should also like try to search for solution which use a similar approach as theirs. Like if suppose one was not able to solve a problem on a particular approach, then one should of course try to like see how this problem could have been solved through this approach. Now lastly, there are some like nice vlogs of Ivanchan on this topic, and there's a AOPS thread where this topic was discussed in a little detail. So I'll just put the 3 links in the chat, and if it's getting streamed on YouTube, then maybe someone can put it there too.
It's not getting shown on YouTube, but we can surely add in description. You can provide with us later.
I put the 3 links in the chat. The first 2 are blogs of Ivanchan and the third is AOPS thread.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, so let's move on to the next round of questions, which is supposed to be a controversial one, but I think there are a lot of questions in chat. So let's just do the rapid fire round first, and then we can move on the controversial to save the spice for the end. Okay, so how this will go is you will be posting the question in the chat, and if you want some particular IMO team member answering that question, you can write in bracket that I want this answer, like just write the name of the person whom you want to answer that, and we'll ask that person the question. So I'll be seeing the questions now. All right.
And also Pranav will choose the relevant question.
Yeah, I'll be
Not
choosing
all questions will be answered.
Yeah. Okay, so one question is from Aditya. Pranjal, what's your height?
Oh, it's between 5'6" and 5'7".
Next question, which is by Ayan Pal. Can you specify some books to learn graph theory for IMO and IMO? Anybody can
I'll
answer.
answer.
Yeah, sure.
Douglas West is pretty nice.
Which one?
There's this book on graph theory by Douglas West, I think. It's popular, right? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, also I personally don't think graph theory books are necessarily
Yeah,
that
same.
useful for Olympiads.
You just learn by problems.
Yeah, because like to learn the basics of graph theory, yeah, but beyond that, graph theory books like, go into like a lot of fanciness. Like if it's interesting, sure, go ahead and learn, but it's not necessarily like necessary to go through the entire book. Just keep doing problems. You see anything you don't know, find out about it.
Also, to clarify, any kind of question are welcome. Non-math, math related. Just make sure that they are not disrespectful to anyone here. Yeah. So the next question is, how much time should we spend on a problem? So what are your views? Like, should it even be time bound? Like, do you set a clock while doing the problems, or just take random amount of time?
I'll
I think
answer
they,
this part.
Can you say it again, Pranjal?
Oh, no, if Arjun wants to, I think you
Yeah,
go
sure.
ahead.
oh
Arjun?
no, I was just saying that there is a question how to attempt problems, and I think this question will get answered there.
Okay, I'll give a specific answer to this anyway. So please don't do it like very mechanically that, okay, after 43 minutes and 12 seconds, I will look at the solution and I will do this for precisely 3 problems every day or something. That's not how you should do it. It is very problem dependent and you dependent. So some good metrics, since people will want these, are 1 hour without progress, or when the problem starts getting boring. Essentially, when you feel that you're just stuck on the problem and the problem is not telling you anything new, that might be a good spot to look at the solution and see what you were missing. It's it should be somewhere in the middle. Like you shouldn't look at solutions too early. Like if you don't get an idea for just like 15-20 minutes, please don't look at the solution. It's just too less time to do anything in Olympiad math. And on the other hand, don't like keep on trying the same problem for hours on an end. So it depends problem by problem, and essentially when you feel the problem won't teach you anything new, that's a good time.
I hope that answers the question. So the next question is by P. Adek. What did you all do to improve your skills in geometry and visualize the problems? I personally want Pranjal to answer because I think like he head solves a lot also.
Yes, like geometry, just like pick geometry way below your level. Read the problem and solve it in your head. Don't even draw a diagram to get a hang of it, the points are. Like draw all the points and everything in your head. It's like really helpful. And you can get surprisingly good at this. Like I don't think this is a big handicap anymore. Like if I could do a problem in say 15 minutes with 15 to 30 minutes with a diagram, I'd wager I can solve it blind just in a lot more time. It's great for visualizing stuff and getting a hang of what claims ought to be true, because it forces you to come up with claims that you feel ought to be true, not just look true in a diagram.
Do you feel GeoGebra helps related to this?
I feel GeoGebra is a bad training practice. That if you use GeoGebra too much, then I feel you can actually become worse at solving without GeoGebra. For me, just because I'm used to paper, I can often do questions on paper but not on GeoGebra.
I see.
Also, I personally used to use GGP a lot initially, and it was a bad idea. Like when she stopped using GGP, I was just like, why is Geo so hard?
I feel
And
like
it took a lot of time to like become reasonable at Geo.
I also used to use GGB a lot, but like when Pranjal suggested to not use it, I started like when I imagine the diagram, I just imagine GeoGebra in front of my head, not on screen. So, yeah. Okay. There is a question by Ritvich. How was jet lag in IMO? So any of you who had jet lag, like anyone?
Time difference was 3.5 hours, so it wasn't that bad. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and we slept a lot.
Yeah.
And apart from Vedanta, our sleep schedules are already messed up, so it was fine.
Even Arjun, right?
Wait, Vedant's sleep schedule is messed up?
No, Vedanta is normal.
From him.
The rest of us is bad.
Ah, I see. Okay, so the next question is for Pranjal and Vedant. Do you guys have any sort of addiction?
I don't. Vedant, you?
Sorry, yaar, परसों Friday, yeah.
That's not an addiction of thing, it's an addiction of meme, bro. Okay, so yeah, the next question is for Costa. Is Ecmo by Evan Chen good?
Yeah, it's really good. It's one of the first books I did for geometry.
Ah,
But also, I'll just select the question wasn't directed to me, but
yeah.
don't treat Ecmo like the book for Geo.
Yeah,
It's not like if you do Ecmo, you don't need to do anything else, because Ecmo kind of has that reputation. And it is a very good book, of course, but there is a lot more to Geo than what is in Ecmo.
And if you're doing it as a first book, like be aware of what you're getting into. It's insanely hard for a first book, even
Yeah.
if cost of man.
Hmm?
You said like you did EGM as one of your first books, right? I'm like,
no, like for Geo, I had basics from excursion and stuff.
okay, fair. But even then, EGM was hard. So like,
Yeah.
fair warning.
Okay, so the next question is, how many years are required to get middle in IMO if one starts from scratch? Arjun, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah, I think regarding this question, I think it depends a lot on how much dedicated you are. Like if someone is not dedicated, even like 10 years might not be enough. On the other hand, if someone is like extremely dedicated, then like even like 1 year could be enough. Like as I mentioned, some people are like, suppose they are doing something and they get distracted easily, then that's not a good sign. But if someone has a very good concentration and he's like doing something with a lot of dedication, then yeah, like it depends a lot on your dedication. And I think with very high dedication, even 1 year might be enough.
It's a very nice answer. So the next question is by Arban. How much you all take it to make it to the IMO team? I assume it means like how much hard work you all have done. Aditya, would you like to answer? You haven't answered any of the questions in rapid fire yet.
So, I think I had to like put a lot of hard work.
Right.
Hey, hard work is not a physical quantity, right?
What? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
question contradicts itself.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So the next question is, should we use theorems like Dirichlet without able to prove it? Like if you're not able to prove a theorem, would you use it in a contest? If you
I
just know
wouldn't
the
recommend
result?
that. I mean, because a lot
Yeah,
of
unless-
intuitions used in deriving the theorem can actually help in solving a question. I've seen it happen, especially. I mean,
Dirichlet
mostly in Geo.
specifically is super
Okay.
fancy though, so it's fine if you cite it without proof.
Huh.
But for most
I'm
other
assuming
things,
it's
definitely
doable.
know how to prove stuff.
All right. Okay, the
Like,
next.
don't do this based on honor though. If like this is all that's stopping you from getting us 17 on INMO or something, then do use the list.
Huh.
And also, it is fun overkilling problems with random results.
I don't feel like I need to prove Fermat's last theorem to disprove it or something.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so the next question is, does school math subject assignments make you bored? And do you like to go or sit in school classes just for fun? Whosoever goes to school, I may answer. Like, I assume most people don't anymore because of 11th or 12th. Interesting. Does all 6 people not go to school?
When I used to go to school,
Yeah,
the
fair.
fun
I
part
mean,
about school is friends.
Look, I bugged all my math periods in 10th grade. So
How did
Yeah,
teachers not
same.
tell you?
Same. My math teacher.
she did say stuff, but no one cared. So.
I got official permission to skip math classes. I haven't attended a single math class since
He went
8th.
to a fancy school.
I went to a nice school. Yeah.
I don't go to school.
Wait, I thought you didn't go to school, you said?
I don't go to school now until 10th class.
Okay, so there is a question by Hassan. What was your aim or goal for the first year when you prepared for math Olympiads? Like, what did you aim to achieve in the first year of prep? Okay, I personally, like, as an interview, I would like to change this question and ask, do you keep an aim or goal when doing practice? Like, let's say you have INMO in 6 months. So would you recommend just preparing, okay, this is INMO and I have to clear it, and like doing 7 or 8 hours of work, just keeping INMO in mind? what would you like? How would you keep your mindset while practicing?
So like ideally one should like so like in an ideal world one should not be worrying much about result, but sometimes, but I think if someone gets motivation to work even harder by like keeping it in mind that I have to clear INMO, then I think there is no harm in doing that.
All right. Does anybody have like a different opinion? Just curious.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly, before any exam or whatever, I don't think I changed that much what I did. Problems I did only if they looked fun. And I just tried it for as long as it was fun and I was able to make some progress. I don't think it's a good idea to like set an aim that this day I'll do like 50 ISLs this month, or like I need to do every X1, 2, 3 in this before I know or something. I feel that's just unnecessary, and forcing yourself to do anything is not the way to do math. Like, do math because it's fun.
Bit of contradicting opinions. Pranjal,
Yeah,
I kind of agree with Arjun on this one, actually, that if it acts as motivation, then it's fine. Like, this will be very person dependent.
also in such an exam like an Olympiad, the syllabus is huge. So what you do just 1 month before or a week before doesn't impact your result as dramatically as what you do for the rest of the year. So I guess consistent practice weighs much more than setting targeted goals and just binging through problems.
makes sense. Okay, the next question is an interesting question. Is messed up sleep cycle a bad thing? I think like quite a few people in the team have messed up sleep cycles. Pranjal, your reaction seems that you want to answer.
I do not want to answer. I'll let anyone else answer this question.
So
Yeah.
I would say like one should be always like willing to improve their sleep cycle the best they could. I I I always try to wake up as early as possible, though my sleep cycle till now is not like what I desire. But like if suppose someone is not able to improve their sleep cycle, like even after a lot of practice, like in general also live sleep cycle in general, like one should always be comfortable in life with what they are doing. So I don't want to particularly quote sleep cycle in this, but I think one should try to improve their sleep cycle. Like again, if one has to wake up for school, one wakes up, the only difference is the motivation level. So I would recommend to improve the sleep cycle as much as they could and always be comfortable in any situation of life.
Right. I think Arjun has quite a messed up sleep cycle. Let's also ask this question to someone who has like a very obedient sleep cycle.
Vedant.
No.
Yeah.
Arjun has a nice sleep cycle.
No, it's
Used to-
completely messed up.
It's completely, yeah. Pranjal, have you never seen his past sleep cycle?
What is it?
It was like he sleeps at 3 a.m. or 4
He
a.m.
sleeps at
wakes
3,
at
4 and wakes up at, and has lunch, has breakfast at 12 or 1.
That's what I do every day. Don't attack me.
You're JEK.
My sleep cycle is I sleep at 7 a.m. and wake at 2 p.m.
I used to think mine was bad. Now I feel that mine is actually okay.
Okay. Okay, so the next
But
question.
actually, my sleep cycle is better now. It's not as worse as people define. But it was like this sometime before, so I won't disagree a lot.
I think Vedant and
Yeah, my
Aditya
sleep cycle
have-
used to be good, and then
He
like
met me. I ruined him.
it's fine.
I think Vedant has like an obedient sleep cycle. So like when he went to IMO, he was proud that he slept at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, one day, so in Norway, night doesn't happen. It gets dark, but there is no night. So one night we went to the ferry and saw the sunset. I have that as my DP, and we returned at 2. So yeah, that was a really proud moment. I woke up the next day at 10. The breakfast was over. By the time I freshened up and got out of the shower, I went down and saw people were eating. I asked, is the breakfast still going on? And the person replied, oh, no, sir, this is lunch, but sure, do have some. that was a new experience for me. Yeah, my sleep cycle is good only because my JE coaching starts at 9. So I have no option other than that to sleep at 11 max.
Interesting. Obedient kids are also there. Nice. Okay, so the next question is by Vivek. How to maintain that interest in mathematics? I feel it gets quite mechanical and bit boring with JE maths. So any JE person would like to answer. Costa, Vedant.
Yes.
Okay,
I have some suggestions.
and ironically, I was also doing JE Maths before this interview, but okay. See, for me, Olympiad Maths has never been boring, but JE Maths always gets boring. I mean, JE Maths is just more rigorous and lengthy. It's not more ingenious. So Olympiad Maths is always fun because you think of new things and do stuff. JE Maths
And
is
also
boring.
in JE, sometimes what is considered a good question is a question that requires like no great idea. It's just
Huh.
like lots of
It's just lengthy.
computation,
Yes,
and that's considered like a good quality question, which
exactly. You'll be like, okay, 2NCN, okay, 2NCR equal to 2NCN minus R. Oh my God, I'm going to manipulate this. This is hard now. I do not like J.
yeah,
I have
and just do
strongly.
like partial fractions like a
Yeah,
million
exactly.
times and integrate. It's just not fun.
It's just annoying, frankly.
Okay, so the next question is by Akshat. What do you prefer? Online lectures, books, or problem practice? Aditya, would you like to answer this one?
I didn't attend many online lectures. I didn't online lectures, and I mostly did problem practice.
Like anyone
Those
else
are
who
I
attended?
think I think specifically for Olympiads, problem practice is really, really good. Generally, the thing you can do is maybe do all the problems or something from a book. That's one thing which you can do. Or follow some set of problems someone else is doing, or just do free floating problems at all. One thing which does not work is only reading theory or only watching stuff and not attempting problems on your own. Like the actually attempting problems is the key thing, and books and videos can be like the filler things which generally show you that you're going in the right direction or cover a couple of things which you missed just doing problems. That's my personal take. I think some people might disagree with me on this one.
That seems to be a nice point of view. Does anyone have a contradicting point of view? Seems like no. Yeah, with them.
Oh, I was just about to ask what was the question. I lost track. I was just
Oh,
seeing.
like online lectures versus problem practice versus doing a full book. What do you prefer?
As long as it's structured, anything will work. I mean, it has to be structured.
The next is an interesting question. Why have people picked J even after reaching such a good level in maths, like representing the country? So I think there are 3 J people in the team. Kostav, you are giving J in 11 days. Would you like to say something?
Sure. I mean, look, honestly, see, I wanted to do maths, but then I don't know why I'm doing JE. Okay, don't give me such questions 11 days before JE. I want to go to IIT. That's why I'm doing JE. Why else would you do JE?
Vedant, what about you?
I think the social culture in India is to do JE. People expect you to do it. One reason is that, and another is I think, as far as I've seen, results in JE are somewhat proportional to the hard work. So if you're hardworking and you practice JE stuff, you can get a decent rank, and that serves as a backup, if not a main option for people, not the main option. So Yeah, I guess that's it.
Also,
So
can we answer the question? Do you all agree that Vedant is the most handsome
I was
one?
going to ask this next.
I mean, I think it's unanimous.
Pranjal, would you like to say anything? You're on mute, by the
He's
way.
muted.
Oh, I was just comparing on camera, but I'll have to agree.
Arjun and Aditya, what do you think?
I would like to answer a better question, maybe.
Oh, someone commented over this. I like Arjun. Congratulations, Arjun.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Also, we'll continue with this rapid fire round for 7 more minutes, and then we'll move to the controversial, and then we can end with the interview. I hope you're all enjoying all the questions we've asked. Why is Kaustav Mishra looking like a 9-year-old kid?
He is.
I don't know how to answer.
Atul can answer for you, no?
Yes, and Kaustav's not. His vocabulary is too limited to answer.
Yes. Because, 9-year-old.
I think one reason is that people can't see his height. Like if they see his height,
Oh,
they
yes.
won't
Oh,
think
Oh yeah,
that
Kaustav
anymore.
is the tallest among us. You
Yeah.
should
By
say.
a good
6'4"
margin.
something, na? He's
Kaustav, can
6'4".
you stand up?
Sure.
He'll not
And
come in the
the
camera.
I mean,
You can't compare. You should see the.
He's a
expectation.
6
I'm
foot.
6'2", okay?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's a 6 foot.
Okay. Next question is by Prime. Okay, Pranjal, I'll ask you one thing before the question. Shall I quote the exact question or shall I modify it a bit?
Oh,
Without
I'm
saying
not. I'm not answering that question if it's the one I think it.
No, it's not that one.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Then just ask.
Pranjal, sir, were you also preparing for IOI? That's why I asked you quote for sir.
Pranjal sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That I'll answer still. So okay, this is complicated. So I never. The thing is, informatics and math contests are really quite similar. Like you often, their intersection between I people and IMO people is huge. So if you are doing like quite well in IMO, and you know coding, it's really easy to pick up IUI. Like you just need to learn a few graph theory algorithms, and then solving IUI graph theory questions doesn't feel that much different from solving IMO questions. And often I have seen IMO questions which are more IUI type than IMO in a way. The difference is so small that you can put IUI questions into Math Olympiads and no one will be able to tell a difference. For some subjects at least, for a lot of subjects, the difference is obvious, but my point is they're very similar. So I never did some very serious prep for IUI, but for like a lot of years, I kept on like coding once in a while. Like I got introduced to informatics also when I was like in 7th, no, not 7th, I think 8th, I guess. I don't remember exactly. So for a lot of time, I used to, for those 3 years, I essentially did a bit of informatics. And along with math, it was mostly enough to make the team. And after I made the team, I like did a lot of serious prep for the IOI.
That sounds interesting. All right, so we can take like 2 or 3 more questions before we end the rapid fire round. So yeah, if people have more questions, they can ask, or we can just end that. I might have missed some questions because there were like too many questions and like skipped some because I felt they might not be inappropriate. They might be inappropriate. So yeah. Okay, this question seems interesting. Did you not feel to like change your stream from maths to like physics, Olympiad, chemistry, or like sports? Since like a lot of you people play sports, like why only maths and not any other thing? Okay, Pranjal, maybe you did IOI also. So yeah.
I mean, like, if one enjoys to play sports also, like playing something professionally and like like I found maths to be more fun. And regarding sport particular, I feel like suppose someone says you to play cricket, then you enjoy playing it. But if say someone asks you to run for 2 kilometers, like at least a random person like me would not enjoy it. So like the sports I mentioned were mainly for like fun, and like math is more fun, and yeah, math is more fun.
Also,
Yeah.
I did write physics Olympiad. I cleared the first stage. In the second stage, I wrote an answer, and I think the invigilator didn't understand what I wrote, so I lost 8 marks. Otherwise, I was this close to making the camp, but okay.
That hurts.
I'm planning to like try physics and mathematics and all.
All the best for that. Okay, this is the penultimate question of this round. What is your favorite piece you like to play? I assume this means on like piano, Pranjal and Vedant. This question is directed to you.
Vedant, you want to go first?
Yeah, I really like Nostalgia by
Nostalgia by
people. Yanni.
Ah.
He's a Greek composer, I think.
Pranjal, what about you?
Okay, I mainly learned classical pieces. So some of the ones I like to play were some nocturnes by Chopin, because anything else by Chopin I just can't play. And like not necessarily Beethoven and Mozart, but like the romantic era of classical music, like Chopin, Debussy, those people. So arabesque and Clair de Lune, parts of those, and Chopin nocturnes mainly. And even to listen to, I like Chopin more.
Yes. All right. So let's move on to the last question of this rapid fire question round. What is your rating for ACGN, like the order? So let's ask this to everybody. Let's start alphabetically. Atul. No, that's not the alphabetical order. Aditya. Yeah, Aditya. What would you like to rate ACGN in?
So I think I would rate it like GNCA or GNAC.
All right. Arjun.
So like J, comma N are pretty much at same place. After that, C, and after that A. This doesn't mean like I enjoy N more than C, but it's just that I feel that I'm more better at it.
All right. Atul.
I'm just giving the order of how much I like it, not necessarily how I'm good at,
Yeah.
which I'm good at. Obviously, I like combo best. I used to like geometry next, but then IMO P4 happened, so now it's NT, then Geo, then algebra at like the rock bottom.
Oh no, NT seems to have. Oh, Geo seems to have fallen a lot. Wait, I forgot the alphabet. Costa, I guess, is next, right?
I'd say
Yes.
number theory, then combo, then geometry, then algebra. I despise algebra. Okay, not algebra, but mostly inequalities.
Ansel, what about you?
This has changed a lot since I started. Right now, I like geometry the most, and the others are just like way down there.
What was it initially? I'm curious.
Initially, it was probably combinatorics, then the others being way down there.
How did it feel to get only G1 IMO as P4?
That was quite sad.
Yeah, you wanted Geo P36.
Yeah.
Vedant, what about you?
So yeah, in order of preference, I mean not necessarily how I'm good at it, how good I'm at those subjects. Combinatorics, then number theory, then geometry, and algebra at the rock bottom. I think
Yes,
that's
same.
the same as Atul. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Algebra sucks.
Especially inequalities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does anybody here like inequalities?
I think they're fine. Like they're as good as combinatorics or number theory.
All right. So I hope everyone had fun asking the questions and most of your questions got answered. So let's move on to the last round of the interview, which is the controversial questions. So let's see how the team answers these questions. The first question is for Vedant. What are your opinions on JEE?
I guess this was covered in.
Yeah, this is covered in rapid fire. Yeah. Okay, so the next question was, what are your opinions on chemistry, Kaustav?
JE chemistry is bad. Normal chemistry is nice. One-liner.
Sad, we wanted a paragraph of you hating chemistry.
Okay, chemistry is just pointless. I do not like chemistry at all, especially inorganic chemistry. Have you seen inorganic chemistry? It's like pure mugging up. I do not like it, especially the exceptions.
Basically, all of chemistry.
Yes. No, organic chemistry is decent. Physical chemistry is just maths. Spicy maths.
Inorganic has exceptions for exceptions.
Yes, exactly. I've seen it happen today only.
1 second. Palladium and platinum. My God.
Huh.
If people get what that means.
I mean, you would have done P block. I mean, not P block periodic.
No. The electronic configuration.
Exactly.
Nickel,
So
palladium,
chromium and
platinum.
copper.
There is only 2 exceptions in the electronic
Chromium, copper.
configuration. No?
Oh, I'm talking about D block. Nickel,
J.
platinum.
P block. I see.
D.
Oh, D.
Yes, anyway, so that summarizes my hate for chemistry.
Yeah. Pranjal, what would you like to say about chemistry?
You're
You're on
muted.
mute.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for telling me. Yes, I purposely wanted to answer this question because I was actually worried Costa won't add the first line that JE chemistry is bad. Other chemistry can be nice.
No, like normal non-J books are actually pretty fun to read, like for chem.
Yeah.
J chemistry is just bad.
Yeah, so I also like prepared for KVPY for like some serious amount of time, so I can empathize. I'm not speaking like completely out of the blue, though of course these guys did way more JE and KVPY type chem than I did. But like trying to judge how good chemistry is from how good JE chemistry is like trying to judge how good Olympiad math is from how good JEE math is. Like if anyone just sees people integrating functions all day long, which are extremely ugly to look at, they'll obviously think math is about that and it's not nice. But if you read like better chem textbooks than the ones used for JEE, and you don't worry so much about memorizing every exception, then chem is okay, I feel. And to do this, like actually try and talk to people in college interested in chem, and they'll have interesting takes.
Also, since you prepared for KPI, how do you feel it's not existent anymore?
I think overall it's not a good thing that IASC is deciding that JEE is a better standard of questions than KVPY was, because I felt like KVPY, maybe it's not the best test, but it was better than JEE. This question
Especially the
interviews.
maths on KVPY is like actually nice. It's
Yeah.
quite similar to IOQM than JEE.
And even with the interviews, it was like a buffer. You know, like if you're science oriented, you do well in the interview, even if you did mediocre-ish in the written one.
Right.
Mm.
So
Alright.
overall, not that happy. And I think JEE also, they were merging JEE and NEET and something I heard.
CUET, yes.
CUET, yes. I'm not sure how I feel about that too, because like I feel you want more different things, like more specific. I'm not being able to frame this, but depending on which subject you want to go to, I feel like they should literally test you for that subject more. And JEE was already like, if you want to do comp science, learn chemistry instead. And I feel like this is just going to make it more of that.
Okay, so the next question is for Atul. What are your opinions about the Ecmo and HBCSC having a girls quota?
Yes, probably the most controversial question of all. Yeah, so it is a fact that girls' representation in MO is like seriously less as compared to boys. Like literally, you can see anywhere, even if you look at number of awardees, number of participants. So it is certainly necessary that there need to be like some steps taken to ensure that equal representation is there. So I can understand that Ecmo and the girls' quota is a thing in this direction. So it is a good thing.
I see. You give a very diplomatic answer. Okay, just kidding. Okay, so the next question is, how do you react to juniors always asking you for advice? Maybe even the same advice asked by like 10 different people. Atul.
Maybe Pranjal should answer this first.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, okay, like honestly, I have asked seniors often, and I think it's a good practice in general to ask other people about things, but um, sometimes I feel it's overdone where people expect way too much detail. Like if I've not seen a question, I think it's pretty unreasonable for someone to expect me to solve it and then not even explain the solution but motivate it to them. So in general, I don't respond too much. Maybe I should. If you like ask me questions which I feel you can't just Google and find out, or find out from Evan Chen's blog, I will answer. Otherwise, sometimes it's overdone. And also don't okay, like suppose you ask me and I respond with like a long paragraph. I don't think there's any point after that to ask Atul and then ask Kaustav and then ask Vedant. Like that happens, like I've seen it happen quite a bit that the same person asks the exact same thing to multiple people. That's like making it worse for more people, if you get what I mean. But this is, by the way, not to say that don't ask your doubts to someone else. And one thing I sometimes do is like if something's like wait already answered well enough, I sometimes just link people to those places. I'm not the nicest person when it comes to this. I'll be honest with that. Like a lot of people try and reply much more than me. Especially in the last 2 years now that I don't even do Olympiad math that much, I've started replying like even less.
Arjun, what would you like to say about this?
So I usually like always feel positive about it because like it's quite understandable because I myself consulted my seniors for my doubts. And I don't agree that like with Pranjal that he doesn't answer because at least he answered my questions. So I'm not sure why did he say that. But coming to the question, now one natural question which arises is, should I focus on like my studies or clear doubts of my juniors? So it's important to always achieve a balance. I personally almost always lean towards clearing doubts of my juniors. And to be honest, there are times when I do not know the answer to all questions that I'm asked. So this highlights the area where a revision or reading is required and stimulates me to continue to read and practice. And when I know the answer, then it serves as a good revision for me. So I think that's overall the process is nice for everyone. Like the person who is asking his doubt gets cleared, and the other person also gets a revision.
Makes sense. Atul, what would you like to say?
So I think if you're asking it out to senior, like preferably like say some stuff, like either say something about yourself if you're asking for general advice. If you're asking about a problem, like tell what you tried, what you think of problem and stuff. That makes it a lot easier. And especially like the questions asked most often are usually like just general questions, like what books did you use to prepare for IMO? How do I get a medal at IMO or some such thing, which you can't really answer. So preferably if they say something about themselves, like which grade they are, what they've done so far in math, what they find interesting, like I feel like the amount of detail you add is helpful in making it easier for someone to respond to you. But also like don't take it to an extreme level where you just like write paragraphs and paragraphs, because that probably makes it unappealing to read for someone responding.
I actually think Atul basically said what I wanted to, just much clearer. If someone actually frames the question well, I will most likely answer them. But if someone just says, "What books did you do?" I'm probably like, what am I even expected to say to that sort of question?
Yeah, I mean, after a point, you just form a, a what a list of the standard questions and your standard answer. What
I
book
actually
use, what
did
research?
that. I
Yeah.
made such a list on OPS and I was using it, but I thought there's honestly no point in doing that.
Oh. I mean, I was saying a list in your head. You actually
Oh,
made.
okay. Yes, I actually made a list on OPS. Whenever someone would DM me, I'd go back to my DM with myself, copy the list of books which
Oh.
I'd used, which I'd written in paragraphs, and paste it back.
Have you
I mean,
have you posted that thing on OPS?
No, it was on a
uh,
private DM.
That's
I was
interesting.
just
But
saying, like,
yes, but see, one reason I stopped is I actually don't even think it's helpful. People will get this idea that these books are definitely better, but it's not true. Other people who have done equally good at IMO have used like totally different books. I don't think it's even an important factor.
Like I think Vedant recommends doing CTPCM, and quite a lot of people don't.
Yeah,
So
like Rohan hates CPCTM. Wait, did I mess up?
CTPCM.
CPCT, yes.
Whatever. Rohan hates that, but Vedant actually used it. It's like
Yeah.
fine.
CTPCM, it's Challenges and Thrills of Pre-College Mathematics, a famous
But
mathematics.
CPCT is congruent parts of congruent triangles.
You get marks in boards if you write it.
Also, having said that, RG does have a blog in which he does mention like books that he thinks are good. But whenever you're like even get a response from someone, like do remember it's like their opinion. What worked for them need not work for you at all. It's just something they think is good.
And you can check Evan's blog for all normal advice. He writes fairly well.
Thanks a lot for the nice responses. Okay, so the last controversial question. In geometry, should I draw accurate diagrams with ruler or ruler and compass, or freehand diagrams? Pranjal?
Okay, so I've already explained my take on it. Like, I'm actually not much worse blind than with paper. So freehand is fine. I don't think, like, even at the IMO, I'll mostly be working with freehand diagrams.
Okay. Vedant?
I also prefer freehand diagrams, but for the opposite case. I mean, fairly early while doing Olympiad math, I learned the advantages of drawing straight lines as straight lines and drawing circles as convex circles, not concave. So now, over the years, my diagrams have improved quite a bit. And if the diagram is not so much complicated and not such that a little deflection in one point impacts the whole diagram in a very dramatic way. I mean, a ruler as ruler and compass diagram can be compared to my freehand diagram. So that doesn't seem a problem for me. Only in the cases which I described, I go for a compass and ruler. I mean, I didn't touch a compass or a ruler at the end.
And also Vedant is not exaggerating. His freehand is literally looks like it's been drawn with ruler and compass.
Big time.
Costa, what would you like to say about this?
I actually draw highly accurate diagrams, using compass and stuff, because it just impacts my intuition. Like if I have an accurate diagram, I'll see I don't know, for me, it's easy to see if I have an accurate diagram, like I should add points and do some constructions to solve the question. I mean, that's what works for me. It's worked for a long time. So yeah, I mean, it takes time to get an accurate diagram if the question is like very complex, but it works out.
Arjun, what's your point of view?
I personally like to draw like accurate diagrams. They help to find different claims of the problems, and it's actually advisable to draw more than one accurate diagram because say some claims appear to be true in like one type of configuration, but it's not true in general. Then if you have another diagram with you, then you like don't waste time trying to prove that. But on the other hand, on some question, it's not like feasible to draw accurate diagrams with ruler and compass. Like the angle condition or like the condition would be like that, you just can't do it. Or say if there are a lot of circles, then it's quite messy to draw three perpendicular bisector and draw every circle. So for that, one should practice to draw nice freehand diagram also, and one should also practice to solve problem with not so good diagrams too. Like I think an expert geometry with a like a expert person in geometry with a bad diagram will perform better than a beginner person in geometry with precise diagram. Now one can accordingly decide now, but what I personally used to do is the following. Say for the first 6 months, like one can solve the problem by drawing, like one should attempt the problem by drawing a nice diagram immediately. This of course improves one's geometry abilities and ability to draw accurate diagram. But maybe for the next 6 months, like one after one has like good abilities in drawing an accurate diagram, he can try to solve a problem with a freehand diagram. And once he has just like surrendered to solve the like problem with a freehand diagram, then he can draw accurate diagram and attempt a problem. So like this improves, of course, this improves geometry skills and solving problem with a freehand diagram also. Now I think when a contest is near and one is like attempting a paper with the like literally that paper type of mind, then I think I personally draw accurate diagrams since I think they're quite helpful. Like even if accurate diagrams help you 10%, I think that 10% is a good percentage.
Makes sense. Also, I think people in the IMO team have like different kinds of freehand diagrams. Like people, as people said, Vedant has very nice freehand diagrams, and Pranjal or Rohan like used to have like very bad freehand diagrams. No hate, but like you can see Rohan's diagram in like his blog post.
Yeah, RG has quite bad time.
Also, like there was a Miro diagram also, right, which you did for some problem.
Miro is always just much worse than freehand. So like for anyone,
Yeah.
Yeah. Miro.
like my freehand ones are not as bad as my freehand Miro
Yeah,
diagram.
Pranjit's freehand isn't bad. It's fine.
Oh, I think Vedant was saying Pranjal's freehand is bad.
Compared to his, mine is terrible. That I
Yeah,
read.
and mine is even worse relatively. Like my circles, I just make it ellipse to look tangent to star.
I don't do freehand, so
How do you figure out
Don't take the
stuff
risk.
with ellipse?
By actually adding
Pranjal
an
said.
ellipse.
I mean, you visualize. You guys visualized, right?
I missed what happened. Sorry, what?
They said, how can you figure out what's going on by replacing a circle with an ellipse? Drawing an
Like, you know, it's supposed to be a circle. So like, that's all you need. It's fine if it doesn't look like it. Lines also you can bend as long as you remember that it's a line.
Yeah, there was a funny
That's a skill.
diagram.
That's a
Thing.
skill.
Yeah. Okay, so there was this question which I accidentally skipped for Arjun. Would you like to give any tips to juniors, Arjun?
Yeah. So like the first, so the important thing is that one should be enjoying maths, like be passionate and committed for it. But also one has to live their life other than maths too. Like in the evening, I go downstairs to play some sports like badminton, football, and if it's raining, then maybe some other game. And these things are important as they like refresh my mind. Also, one should focus more on hard work and not the result. And as I quoted before in Bhagavad Gita, it's written that duty, like one should do karma with full dedication, but no attachment to results. And I like currently believe in the same. Also, like imagine, suppose someone is just going to office, coming back, going to office and coming back, and he doesn't has a life other than that. Then even if he is a CEO of a company, like that's not a, I don't think that's a good situation to be in. Now there on the other hand, there are some people who are like so like they're dedicated towards their work that they even don't know what's happening in the world, and they have dedicated their life towards like improving the world. They are like a very different type of people, and like I don't think like I think playing is also important. So for example, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi works like 18 hours a day for our country. So of course we also require such people for the like growth of the country. So I mean, if you can become such kind of a people who is like just doing his karma and is happy with it, of course that good. But if you are not like that, then live your life other than match too.
That's very nice advice. I hope like people follow it. Also, to end the interview, I'd like to ask one last question. What advice would you like to give your past self? Let's start with Atul.
Maybe that seniors and even like people who won IMO medals and even Pranjal who has like bunch of golds, they're also like human. They're like nice people and stuff. Initially, when you start doing maths, like you imagine they're like some kind of god of math and they can like just look at problem and they're like, ah, this is the solution. Okay, maybe he can, but like they're also humans, they're nice people. And never think that I will never be able to ever reach like close to that level. Like it's certainly possible. Like it's understandable to be scared of them, but like you don't have to be. They're also like nice people. They like to talk to people and stuff. So just don't think that they're like a different class of people that you'll never be able to go near.
Atul, how do you feel to be like one of them now? Like people would think that I can never reach Atul's level or something.
No, no. It's easy.
Okay. Pranjal, what would you like to say?
Hmm, I'd probably say that don't burn out. Like one issue with me was when I first really got into this maths Olympiad thing, I used to think about it like more than I should have maybe in eighth and ninth. Like every time I was free, like in the car while coming back from school, if I have some free time, maybe I would be attempting an Olympiad problem there, sleeping late to attempt only problems, etc. Don't necessarily do that because however much you like the subject, if you do that, you'll eventually lose interest. Like I did that in eighth and ninth, but after that my interest kind of flagged. And in the last 2 years, I don't think maybe take the pre-departure camp week out. I haven't done any Olympiad math which I didn't do with like some extrinsic motivation, like as part of being an Otis TA or like being in the group solve. Without that, I did not end up doing any math in the last 2 years. So I tell my past self to like take it easy. I guess this is similar to Arjun's point in a way.
Arjun, what would you like to say to your past self?
In the past I sometimes got demotivated, and like I had some bad phases. So like I would like to see have more like determination power. But I actually like would not regret much about it, because I'm not even like currently able to follow what I like to follow. So I'm more like at least let's try to follow it now. So not much actually. I think everything which happens is for some good only. So I don't think it's worth worrying much. Like, of course, do the best possible you can do right now, but don't worry much about the past. Just learn from your mistakes in the past and move on.
And also just one thing I wanted to add to what I was saying. Also, like it's fine to be able to like not solve problems. Like close to Olympiads or some things, if you fail to solve an easy-ish problem, it's like very easy to say like, oh my God, I missed easy problem. If this comes in contest and I don't solve, what will happen? Like just don't overthink that much. Like it's fine. Some problems might be easy, you might not solve. It's fine. Just chill.
Makes sense. Aditya, what would you like to say?
I think like I would say like to improve my handwriting, like understandability of my solution. Like in last IMO, like in one question I got in the solution idea and I wrote down a solution which is like the examiner didn't understand. So, like, it was like nicely written. It was bad handwriting.
Vedant.
In what Pranjal said was extremely related. I had the exactly same phase in 8th, yeah, pre-COVID. So I I did Olympiad maths in all my free time. I used to finish my homework at school in the zero period, in the break between periods. And after reaching home, I would dedicate all my time to maths because I was so much interested. Not because I wanted to do something or people told me to do it. Like my both parents are doctors, so I was just so much interested. But in 9, I began to face the repercussions as I burnt out, like Pranjal said, and it took a lot of motivation and a lot of time to get back on track to all of them. So basically the same.
Yeah. So what would you like to say, Fasil?
I would like to say that don't be scared of supposedly difficult problems. Because for a long time, I used to think, oh my God, P3, I can't do it. P3 is impossible. Oh my God, C7, it's not doable. Don't attempt only. Go do P1 too. You can do it. No, I think it's just do maths because it's fun and don't really think too much. Oh my God, it's difficult. If you look at a problem and think that, oh my God, this might be fun, just go and do it. Because a lot of times you can do more than what you actually think you can do. And you know that's a good feeling after you solve it. So there's no point being scared. You're doing maths because you like it, so just go have fun, go all out.
I agree a lot with this. All right. Also, I just remembered of one controversial type question which I'd like to be answered personally. So, what do you think of orsing or like saying people who are senior to you, let's say you people who are in the IMO team as God or stuff? Like, how do you feel yourself when you are called that?
I didn't exactly get the meaning of the question. Like, could you
Like,
give another example or something?
yeah, so like people nowadays like ors people like ors is basically a symbol of bowing down. So like in the chat you might see someone saying ors, which is basically just he's bowing down to you or saying you like equivalent to God or stuff. So how do you react to that? How do you feel to that?
It's a terrible idea. Like doing it ironically is maybe fine, but even that is not nice because I just disagree completely with this course culture. Like if you think someone is good, like just think they're good. Like this is just like kind of creating some kind of gap mentally between you and other people.
Yeah, exactly. I
Don't do
mean, you'll just start
Yeah.
worshipping the other person and think like, oh my God, I can never do this.
If you get stuck in that sort of loop, you yourself, it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Uh,
Like, if you think you can't do it, and oh my God, these people are so good, you'll stop even trying to do it, and that's what's like everyone.
All
And then
these
children,
opinions, so ours maths.
Actually, my opinion is a bit different. Like, I personally like to like have some ideas. Like, I also like ours to people. But if someone is urging, I think it's like just say don't ours. But I personally ours like. I don't think there is any harm. Like if someone is at a very good level in some particular field, then he has worked really hard for that, and I don't think agar like if we are urging someone, then that's a bad idea. Like if you look at a lot of people, a lot of people did bhakti of some gods and they achieved a very high level of life. So I don't think what's the harm in that.
I think the culture which it has built up to is something slightly different, where people just use it and as an excuse, one as an excuse to not do math or to try and push themselves, and to it makes it like Olympiad culture is already a bit cliquey in a sense that people like this meeting is an example of it. That we 6 are like all answering questions because we did well in some competition and made some IMO team, and because of that we know each other. It's already like really cliquey, and then when this, if you add this level of oversuit, it becomes like completely fragmented, and I think it's led to a lot of bad things in the Olympiad society, like a lot of people pretending to be much better than they are. For instance, I've seen that pick up over the recent couple 2 3 years, and I think the odds culture is a part of why that has happened. And in general, if it makes the person you're doing it to uncomfortable, then at least then you should stop for sure.
Meaning,
Like if someone is saying ors Kostav, ors Kostav, ors Kostav, and Kostav is like, oh my god, why are you doing this to me? Leave me alone in peace. Then leave Kostav alone in peace.
Yes.
but like that's the sign of some great people that they don't want to like that they don't want to get odds from other people. But if we don't odds people, we might not be able to take much from them as we could take by like being idealizing them. Like if we think like we want to become like them, then that in a positive sense I think might help.
Like also, Arjun, like ours is generally like in a negative connotation. It's not like bowing down or like saying namaste to someone. It's like, go on.
It's more like I'm worthless compared to you.
Yeah,
Think of it like that. It's idolizing and respecting someone are great. They can be great motivators and they're nice feelings to have maybe, but the way odds is built up is that every time I see the word, I feel awkward for everyone in that scenario. Almost.
I
I,
don't
I hmm.
I don't exactly know the meaning of wars, but I was just relating it to bhakti and treating someone as god or something.
Yeah, those things are completely different.
Yeah, like I
treating
get,
someone as God is extreme. Like there,
yeah,
Okay, let's move on. Pranav.
yeah, and also
yeah.
one person asked in chat, what do you mean by pretending to be good? I mean like copying solutions and claiming they were original solutions and that sort of thing, and claiming things they did not do. Like sometimes you can just tell, especially if you have done those things.
Also, someone asked about me orzing Shaurya in
I won't say
Pokemon
any names.
Showdown, so I agree. I will never stop orzing him, even though I just beat him yesterday. So.
Yeah, also this point I think someone brought up, like if you're doing it purely for a joke, that's okay, but people take it to too serious an extent.
So there seems to be a contradicting point of view among the team, but like I agree with not Orson personally. Okay. So yeah, that was it for the interview. I hope every one of you enjoyed the interview. Thanks to the team for taking out time for this interview and like answering all the questions. That's very nice of you guys. And thanks to the OMC blog team for working so hard on the questions and organizing this thing. And at last, thank you to the audience for attending this interview and making this fun. All right then. Bye everyone. I'll end this meet now.
The OMC Blog team.